welcome back to my car cave. So this is the last two models I purchased last year, and had they arrived earlier, I would have probably made a video sooner. However, these apparently took what appears to be 5 trips across the Atlantic before finally arriving at my house. I'm not sure quite what was going on. I would have happily paid less for the shipping if they'd only flown it across the Atlantic one time. But that said, in front of me is the 1985 Ferrari 156/85. This is from Tecnomodel. But let's go ahead and talk about the season. This is another missed opportunity season for Ferrari. Many of those from the 1980s. This one, Ferrari finished second in the championship, both in the constructors and the drivers. Kelly Albereto led the driver's title as late as Austria, which was the 10th race of the year, and Ferrari, I think the Dutch Grand Prix, which was the 11th race of the year, before reliability issues ultimately cost them the championship. Hilariously, I found this headline on the Ferrari website, F1 website, and as you can see, they thought otherwise about the reliability in the second half of the season. But I assure you, Michele Alboreto, if he were here today or live today, would tell you reliability probably cost him the title, as he retired in 5 out of the last 5 races. He was classified 13th in the Italian Grand Prix, I believe, because he finished 90% of the race, but he did retire with about 13 laps to go. So anyways, another just poor performance from Ferrari. This was a 1.5 liter V6. It says about 780 horsepower online, although it was 850 and 84 and 850 and 86. I don't know why they would have stepped it down. It was fast in qualifying and in race pace early in the season. But again, like I said, reliability gremlins really cost them a chance to win the driver's title as well as the constructor's title. This car was driven both by Michele Alboreto and Stefan Johanssen for the majority of the year. The original race was Brazil, and that was Stefan Johanssen was racing in a Tyrrell at the time, and René Arnoux had carried over from the previous season. However, he got into some kind of dispute with Enzo Ferrari, and that was the end of that. So he was released from his position as driver at that point. So anyways, that's kind of enough about the this race history. I will go ahead and talk about the models themselves. Okay, so let's talk about the details of this model. Like I said, this is a Technomodel. If you watch my videos, you know that I am generally not a fan of Technomodel. I feel like I am handcuffed and have to purchase these because I want every variant, particularly for Ferrari, in my F1 collection. However, they're just for the price. It's GP Replica price, often more than a GP Replica unless you can get it on sale, and the quality is just not the same. However, having this one may change my mind. Again, I did a review on the 84. I thought for the most part it was good, but there definitely just some terrible misses on details and things like that that just make me irritated that I had to buy that one and that GP Replica didn't make that variant. But that said, I think this is definitely a different story. So the GP Replica one is, as you know, is not their finest moment by any stretch of the imagination. I often knew something was not correct with it. I never made a video on it, so I didn't do a whole lot of research. But now having both of these side by side, you can see the GP Replicas is just totally, the proportions are all wrong. And despite their better details, this is definitely the one to have. So anyway, so for this Technomodel, I'll say things that they did better this time around. They actually added photo etched rivets along the side cowling, which is accurate. They're actually look to me to be smaller than the one on the GP Replicas, only a bit smaller, but anyways, they are there. While they have divots here to represent the rivets, up front, GP Replicas has actual photo etch parts. I actually think based online, they look kind of more black here, and they're smaller than even the side ones. So I think just having a little divot there is a better representation of what's going on. When you look at it on the GP replicas, it's a bunch of silver dots. It just looks like it's almost overkill. Other things going on here, this black hole here in the side of the side pod on both sides, that's accurate. That's in every photo I ever see of this car. I don't know why GP Replicas does not have that. So that's something that Technomodel definitely got better. This side knock-a-duck, much bigger on the GP Replica, or sorry, much bigger than on the GP Replica, way more accurate. The rear wing, narrower, but bigger end plates than say on the GP Replica, so definitely looks much better. And the critical factor I find between the GP Replica and this one is the wheel size. The front wheel size on the GP Replica is terrible. The sidewall is huge. The tire is way too tall. And then on top of that, the entire width of the car, the GP Replicas, is much wider than this one. Therefore, the rear wing, the whole car just looks stretched width-wise. And so it just presents totally inaccurate looking over this version. So additionally, I think back here, GP Replicas had a gold covering for the exhaust, heat shields. I can't find photos that say that that's right or wrong. I think it's kind of more of like a silver color. Here it's just black, which is not great on Technomodels. Some of the kind of typical Technomodel issues still persist to me. They don't do any carbon fiber decaling. That's frustrating because these were carbon fiber and or Kevlar composites at the time. That kind of started in I think '83. They switched over from aluminum to these carbon fiber and Kevlar wings, kind of mid-season there. These air intakes also should be carbon fiber, as well as the diffuser would have been as well. So I think that could have been better. Like on the real car, this lower wing mount here, which is I've always thought of just a bizarre design. It's just a round tube. That's a checkered carbon fiber pattern or weave. And it would have been better had they had the decals. Now that said, the decals on the GP Replica are kind of a silverish striated version. They're not the accurate pattern. They don't look totally right. They are not glossy like they use now, so that's kind of nice, because I think one of the problems GP Replica does have is they use all this glossy carbon fiber, which isn't super accurate to a modern F1 car. And then going, other details, I've seen pictures where this is gold, sometimes it's silver with gold, so I think GP Replicas and Techno both can claim accuracy there. GP Replicas has a photo etch part here that would have been kind of nice. But the one thing I do love is I love driver figures. All my cars, I prefer to have a driver figure in there. They're part of the race history. They're part of the season's history, as much as the car for me. So these, I think Technomodels has done a fantastic job with these driver figures lately. This Stefan Johanssen helmet, it's an RE helmet, which is different than what Michele Albereto was wearing. He was wearing a Jebs helmet, just kind of more of a rounded, arrowy kind of shape to it. I think in the next season or the previous season, Albereto had a similar helmet to this. So anyways, I really appreciate their efforts to make the helmets accurate, even if they do the clear one for Albereto. And while I think it looks pretty good from the side, from the front, you just see this like googly-eyed guy, which is not exactly what I was hoping for. And it's why I'm not a fan of the clear lenses, even though it's accurate. But yeah, this is an amazing model. I think, like I said, I'm super excited about this. I rarely ever would say I'll take the Technomodel over a GP Replica, but this is the one. This is the one I'm going to take for sure. That GP Replica is absolutely going on eBay. It's everybody has a bad day at work, and so clearly when they made that one, GP Replicas had a bad day. And these are die casts or resin 1/18 scale. They're never going to be 100% accurate, so I'm not going to get too fidgety about too much stuff, but like this just looks way better. It's an amazing looking model. It's fantastic, despite some of the details I think for this price range it should command or should have. I think this is fantastic. It's going to look a ton better in my collection. The biggest decision is which driver should I keep. And another thing, you know, when it comes to Technomodel, they do kind of limited runs. That's kind of their thing. This is limited to 80. This happens to be piece number 5, according to that little decal. This one, the Albereto being the more popular driver, that's a 110 limit on there. It's number 95, so kind of later in the run. But anyways, I love these models. I think these are fantastic. I'm super happy. I may keep both. So that's my first review of the year. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll have some more content coming in as soon as some of the new models are released.